support this motion 100%, and I urge my colleagues to contribute on the same, because these are very important people. We require them so that we can continue or restart the work, because this is what we lack at the moment, and the committee have done a very good job. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Kiprono for Lembus Perkera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm also here to support this motion about the CECs. And first of all, I want to applaud the Committee of Appointment for doing a thorough, good job, doing comprehensive and intensive interview for the CECs. They've done us proud once more. So I want to applaud them and support this motion. These nominees came for the interviews, and most of us saw the interviews online, and for sure most of them qualify for this job. I also want to support mostly Daktari, we call him Daktari Solomon Sirma. This is a doctor who comes from my village. He's somebody that I've known for quite a while. And to support that is that Kabimoi, because he comes from Kabimoi, where I come from also, is a village of its own. I don't know if you are aware that the second president of this country came from Kabimoi. I don't know if you are aware that the MPs, all the MPs for Ravine come from Kabimoi. I don't know if you are aware. Are you aware that the veteran rally driver in East and Central Africa comes from Kabimoi? Are you aware? Yes.
What's the information?
I am so informed, Speaker. I'm so informed. You know, this is my village.
Honorable Kiprono.
I don't see what.
Honorable Kiprono, kindly assume your seat. What's it, Honorable Cynthia?
Thank you, Bwana Speaker, sir. The person is telling us that the President of the Republic of Kenya is from Sacho, from Kabimoi. And so we know that the President of the Republic of Kenya is from Baringo in Sacho.
That is why I refuse to get the information, because the current president comes from Tarbo. It doesn't come from Kabimoi. I said the second president. Yes, we have a PC who came from Kabimoi, a PS, Boit, is from Kabimoi. So I was just saying that because I know the likes of Robert and maybe Seuri can see me behind the tent so that I can take them round. Kabimoi is a good place. So Daktari, from the CV, from the interview, we've seen that he's an able person. From what I've seen, what he has done in Nakuru County of late as a CEO, is somebody that will be of much help in our county as a CEC. This is somebody that will not let us down. And I'm happy that somehow Honorable Ngotia has also touched on that. So for sure, I recommend Daktari as I support this motion mostly because I have my village mate around here. So secondly is as a chair water. As a chair water, I'm also so impressed with the CEC I saw him live as CEC Tamar, and from his experience, and Baringo, having Baringo, 75% of Baringo being Asal area, we need a knowledge or a mind like Tamar. He also comes from a hardship zone, so I think it will be a plus for us if we get somebody like Tamar in this department. I've also noticed that he worked with World Vision, and World Vision are one of the partners who can do us major projects on water. So to me, I think I'll support this because I see Tamar as able leader and able CEC. The last one that I also saw as of important is CEC agriculture. I come from Eldama Ravine area. Lembus Perikera is partly an agricultural area, and I'm impressed because the biggest milk plant in Baringo County is in my ward. And having somebody of vast knowledge like Madam Chepkonga, we can go far. I have an Koibatek Agricultural Training Center also in my ward, which has been training farmers. But nowadays, we need to up it. We need to up it so that we can do breeding of cows there, things to do with artificial insemination, affruitation, and also trainings in this land. We call it FTC. Mr. Speaker, FTC alone, we have 450 acres of land, which is enough to do a lot in issues of agriculture. So I stand here to support and mostly also say thank you for the members, because in the morning, we all said we needed time. This shows that we need quality debates, and like today, the issue at hand today, the issue of CEC, we need a lot of time. We needed a lot of time to go through the CVs and all that. And I'm happy that by the words of the third president of America, Thomas Jefferson, who said, in matters lifestyle, swim with the current. But in matters principle, stand like a rock. So I want to applaud this house because of your principles. Thank you so much. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion. Thank you.
Honorable Kiprono, I'm worried because you invited only Robert, Honorable Robert and Honorable Seuri to Kapimui. What happens to the rest of us? Honorable Sam Locales.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to start at onset that I support the report of the appointment committee about the appointment of the 10 CEC members. Mr. Speaker, on my submission, I'll be general. I'll be general, Mr. Speaker, and I want to say we have the grim of Baringo in this list of CECs, Mr. Speaker. I don't want to say or preempt that maybe those who are left are not the grim, Mr. Speaker, but looking on this list, Mr. Speaker, starting from the departments of lands, housing, and urban development, you will see architect Ruto. Mr. Speaker, previously, in the previous governments of Baringo, we have experienced somebody who did about human resource taking lead in lands. Mr. Speaker, he will not know the drawings and maybe how the lands and housing department should be handled. But this time around, His Excellency Honorable Cheboy was so wise to bring to us an architect to lead the department. Mr. Speaker, on the other departments, I'll quickly go through, Mr. Speaker, but you will allow me, Mr. Speaker, to mention about the 2 nominees from Tiati. Mr. Speaker, Maureen Carello Limashep, Mr. Speaker, who comes from Koloa. Mr. Speaker, the lady, I have known her. I have even been her supervisor when we were working in World Vision, Mr. Speaker, some times back. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, this is a lady who was brought up from a family, a single mother. And she struggled. I saw her struggle when going to college. I saw her until she completed. I can tell you this is an example of those who have toiled to where they are, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I don't have any reservation, Mr. Speaker, for this lady. And how I wish that she will be among those who will be passed today to get this prestigious position of the CEC Youth, Gender and E-Government and ICT, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on Reverend Kiuta, Mr. Speaker, you will note Mr. Kiuta served a lot in the church. But he did not stop learning. He went ahead. He is a PhD holder, one of our first in Tiati, Mr. Speaker. We are proud of Reverend Kiuta because he is showing the entire Tiati that the way to go is to embrace on education. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, that Cheboy saw good things from him. I think he will deliver. He has served in Kabarak in various capacities. He was a lecturer. He did a lot, interacted with the students and the management of Kabarak. I think that's where he dwelt mostly, Mr. Speaker. And I think, Mr. Speaker, this is a person, a God-fearing person, and I know he will deliver in education department, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, because I don't want to go in details of every member here, Mr. Speaker, I want to go area where I'm also interested party. I'm a vice chair of Public Works, Transport and Infrastructure. And I've gone through the Lekonaya Kibwalel, who comes from Lembus. I'm seeing here Eldama Ravine, but his word is Lembus. He comes from Lembus. And Mr. Speaker, it is good to have, as I said earlier, we have those people who have studied in those disciplines, Mr. Speaker. I know, Mr. Speaker, there is a lot we can do here in transport and infrastructure in Baringo. In Baringo, Mr. Speaker, I think it is only in Ravine and maybe Mogotio where there was complete low-cost roads which were done in previous government. But if you go to Baringo South, I know this is the roads which are graded, built on a dosa, and that's all. We need an expertise, Mr. Speaker. A person who can lead this county and advise even the committee, and advise the assembly, and advise the executive on how we can get low-cost roads, Mr. Speaker. Those which we can put some money and we can have all-season roads, Mr. Speaker, where it is rainy season, we go through it. It's not rainy season, we go through it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was also interested by nominee number 7, Dr. Solomon Zerma. Mr. Speaker, I have seen somebody here who has worked in Nakuru County. According to the information we have, he was the director of health. He was a CEO in charge of health in Nakuru. And we have seen Nakuru is among the best they have delivered on issues of health. I'm happy that this brain is coming home. He's coming home to save us from our hospitals from collapsing. He will assist Honorable Okorio on issues of health, because our chair health, to ensure that the sub-counties have the best level 4 hospitals. The village of my friend Engineer Sitoi, which is equivalent to my own ward. We have the best dispensaries, if not health centers. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I don't have any reservation of all these men and ladies of Baringo. I support and I urge all of us that let's give them opportunity to deliver to us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Honorable Kipruto Kimosop, member for Mujongoi Ward, Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this report. And in supporting this report, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to capture clearly where we are as a county. The people of Baringo, Mr. Speaker, went to the polls on August 9th. And the majority of these members were elected. It is now clocking, I think it's clocking 3 months now, or even more. It took long for us to be sworn in because of IEBC challenges in ensuring that there's the list. And then finally we are here. The voters, Mr. Speaker, that went to the polls are already getting impatient with us. They want services. They even no longer know whether they are CECs or they are CEOs, or according to them, we are in Kabarnet and we are supposed to be working. In fact, some of them even don't know whether it took long for us to be sworn in, because I think majority of these guys, after we were elected, we were not available in the ward immediately for the close contact. So there's a huge push by the voters to ensure that service delivery, services are available. And I think, Mr. Speaker, approving this report today will pave way for this county to get an executive committee and to have the county function. Of course, the outgoing executive committee is there, but obviously, as a human being, knowing that your days are numbered, the motivation is not so much there. So that is my first reason why I want to urge these members that really we do not need any further delay, even 1 second. And I want to urge even the governor that after this is approved today, he should move immediately and swear in the CECs so that we begin to function. And we want to see them handing over and work begins. That does not mean, Mr. Speaker, that we are a rapastam. It doesn't mean that when we say like that, we don't know our work and we don't know what we are supposed to do. It doesn't mean that way. It doesn't mean that these reports are just coming to this house as a conduit. It doesn't mean like that. But then, as most members have said, we have committees as structures in this house to help us panel pit, to help us deliver on the mandate of this house. And the appointments committee has brought us this report. Members requested more time. We have taken time. They have taken time. At least for me, I'm a member of this committee. They have taken time to look at this report. Generally, Mr. Speaker, if there were serious reservations on this report, we would be hearing them. But then, as a member of this committee, I am convinced that we did, to the best of our human ability, to the best of our recollection, we did the best we could. The third issue, Mr. Speaker, is what exactly is our mandate in as far as the CEC or the CEO are concerned? what exactly is our job? What does the standing orders envisage that this House does or the committee do? Our job, Mr. Speaker, we are not the nominating authority. The nominating authority is the governor. We are not also the appointing authority. The appointing authority is the governor. Now, but our job is to exercise vetting, to vet the CECs, to look at whether there's a problem, there's an outcry, there's a criminality, there's an offense in as far as the CECs are concerned. That is what our job is. So that even as a committee, when we began, we asked ourselves, what exactly is our job? Are we becoming an appointing authority or a nominating authority, or we are only subjecting the CECs to the criteria to see whether they are suitable or whether there are some hidden concerns that public have? And in doing that, Mr. Speaker, it is important to report that in all the 10 CECs, no single memoranda that was presented to our committee raising any matter, raising any complaint, no single memoranda against any committee. Mr. Speaker, the qualifications that were presented to us, the committee was able to authenticate, and where the qualifications were not available immediately. One of the CECs, I think, if my memory serves me well, I think Lekonai had actually lost his KCSE certificate. But this house wrote to Kenya National Examination Council to get confirmation whether the certificates he had, the copies of the certificates he had, were the true reflection by the Kenya National Examination Council. And it was applied to us. In situation, Mr. Speaker, where names were having problems, so that we were sure that the person we are vetting is the person that the documents are available. Those individuals supplied documentation to us to the effect that they have a family name and they have a name that they had before they got married. And they supplied affidavits to us that now they have two names by virtue of marriage. And we were able to look at it. Mr. Speaker, there were concerns about some of the nominees. One of them is the architect, I think Architect Ruto, that he had a case in Bungoma regarding a wheelbarrow story. And you see, these were general public issues that were nobody was able to reduce them to a memoranda to our committee. But because we are human beings, we live in these streets as committee members. We read Facebook pages, we do all this. So we actually needed to know whether it's true that Architect Ruto has a case. And Mr. Speaker, Architect Ruto was able to supply to the committee a judgment of the High Court acquitting him and acquitting the team that had been accused of that corrupt case. And you know, Mr. Speaker, when there's a High Court judgment completely acquitting you or setting aside a junior court case, it restores back your innocence back to its original settings. So that if the magistrate's court had said that you are guilty and the High Court questions that, you get restored back as an innocent person. That information was available to us, Mr. Speaker, as a committee. There were demonstrations, I think, in Partabwa Ward where there were concerns that the nominee has been purported to be from Partabwa, and yet the last time she was there was so many years ago. Nobody from Partabwa wrote a memoranda, but we were able to task that nominee to find out whether there were community challenges. And she indeed confirmed, Mr. Speaker, in her net worth that she has a huge chunk of land in Partabwa, which because of pandits she's not able to access, and nobody has complained about the kind of land that she has. Mr. Speaker, there were concerns about a nominee who had a low qualification in Form 4. And some people were telling us now, if somebody had a challenge in Form 4 with a low academic qualification, and we are bringing him to be in charge of the cabinet, will that person be able to function? That nominee, Mr. Speaker, was able to demonstrate that despite not performing very well in Form 4, she was able to grow through the trajectory, to get a certificate, to get a diploma, and eventually to get a degree. And in both cases, juggling between family, insecurity incidences, and this is a nominee from an extremely marginalized area. So, Mr. Speaker, in exercising our vetting mandate, one of the other nominee, I think, from Baringo South, where I come from, where a few challenges had also been raised, and it is important to report here that that nominee had no case anywhere. It was a case of forgery. It has never been presented anywhere. It has never been presented to any court of law or to DCI or to anywhere. That nominee is a victim, I think, in my view, if you ask me, is a victim of administrative injustice, an administrative action that resulted to an injustice. Because he was just told, you go home and wait, we will call you back. And that man is still waiting to be called back up to today. Mr. Speaker, finally, I want to salute, Mr. Speaker, that, and it's important members get to know this, that we have counties today that are not able to have their CCs sworn in. Why? Because there's a court case. Why a court case? Because the nominees are from either one tribe, one region, or it does not observe the gender rule. I want to salute Governor Cheboy, Mr. Speaker, that it's not easy to balance a county of this diversity, the level of diversity that we have. And in his own wisdom, he has been able to balance even the competing marginalized communities to an extent, Mr. Speaker, that even us, and I think members, I don't know whether they have known this, that I actually come from a community called the Endorois community, which is a minority community, and which is not a Tugen. You know, we are not Tugens ourselves. we are not, Mr. Speaker, because the United Nations, the African Union, we took a case to African Union, and it went through the stages, and it was confirmed that the Endorois are independent, not Tugen, not any other tribe. We are independent. And in this list, Mr. Speaker, we have two nominees from the Endorois community, something that I want to applaud. We have a nominee from the El Chamus community. From the El Chamus community, Mr. Speaker, is in this list. We have two from the Pokot community, which by all intent and purposes, despite our challenges here and there, are a marginalized community. So that is also important to note, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I sat through that interview, and I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, because as the chair of that committee, as an advocate of the High Court, you were able to perform your duty, and we were there. I listened, we listened, you followed publicly, we listened word by word throughout the interview. I can ascertain to this House, Mr. Speaker, that Governor Cheboy went for the most qualified CCs. The most qualified CCs, Mr. Speaker. And one of the CC, I think, Engineer Lakonai, has had an opportunity to work in East and Central Africa, has had an opportunity to work in America. In fact, one of the questions we were asking, I asked it myself, was whether you are actually taking a demotion. And he said, I retired. In fact, he kept repeating that before I retired, because, you know, he had worked up to that something years, and then he chose to take leave from active duty. But he said, I am coming home to offer service to my county. Dr. Sirma, Mr. Speaker, is a man that has served Nakuru. And for those who live in Nakuru, for those who are near Nakuru, know that the kind of challenges that we have in Baringo of drug shortage is actually not an issue, a serious issue in Nakuru County. He said, I have taken this job to come and serve my home county. And By the way, like me, I have a lot of confidence that the health sector under Dr. Sirma will actually change. So I think Chiboy tried his best to go for competence, to go for regional balance, and to get us the best. And mine is to plead with this house that we actually approve these nominees. And just for the record, Mr. Speaker, because I have just mentioned that I come from the Ndorese community, Sakaria Kopetpet and Benina Bartuin are actually from the Ndorese community, and as this house approves, they will be approving part of that team, a marginalized and a minority community, to the executive of Baringo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Solomon Makal.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to appreciate the good work of the appointment committee. I've gone through the report. I've observed even the qualification, Mr. Speaker. They have done a good job, and I applaud their job, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion that the CECs have the capabilities, Mr. Speaker. I've seen. And Mr. Speaker, we want this county to go ahead. We want to progress. So we need these officers in office so that they just do this job. Mr. Speaker, as my colleague has said, it's well distributed. A regional balancing was done by His Excellency Governor. We appreciate this job. Mr. Speaker, we only need services as elected honorable members. We want these individuals or CECs to come and work for the people of Baringo. Mr. Speaker, I don't have much ado. I just support that we pass this motion so that we can take Baringo to the next level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Solomon Kuria.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also want to join my colleague by supporting this motion, and also applaud my senior Honorable DS, who was in Form 4 and I was in Form 1. And because he did not, we were in the same school, Baringo High School. And because he did not monorize me, I can also not fail him today. But I rise somehow to disagree with him in some statement that he made here, that all the community were taken care of. My name is Solomon Karaoke. And when I go through the list, I don't see the Kamaus here and the karaoke, but maybe in the future governments to come, they need to be taking care of Kamaus and karaokes and Wangares in this county. But I am hopeful that maybe in the list of the chief officer that is coming, maybe they will be there, and I know maybe my community will also be very happy. I come from a place where is it a cosmopolitan ward? If you look at the Ravine, non-Kalenjins voters are more than 30,000 or 25,000. So we also need to be considering them so that they can feel that they are represented. Mr. Speaker, I said I support this document, hoping that the list of chief officer I will also be represented. If I look at someone like Dr. Serima, last Thursday, after swearing in the DG, the following morning we made a visit to the Ravine Hospital, and Dr. Serima was there. And I can assure this house that this man is knowledgeable, is a professional, and the kind of question that he was asking there, I felt there is hope, or there is light at the end of the tunnel in our health sector. I'm a friend of Nakuru County. I know a lot about Nakuru County, but I can tell you for the 5 years that Dr. Sirima was there, he has done a good job. The best cancer center now, you don't need to go to Nairobi for cancer treatment or therapy. Naivasha, there is a very good cancer center that Dr. Sirima was able to establish in Naivasha. And I heard him saying that he's looking forward whereby he can be able to bring his friends who can be able to assist in various services in our county. If I look at him, he's a gynecologist. I'm looking forward whereby the problems of our mothers and our ladies will be sorted. It is true, it's not a laughing matter, so many challenges that are facing our ladies, and maybe we don't have enough specialists in our county. So I'm looking forward, maybe despite him being a CEC, he might be finding some part-time time to do extra services to our hospitals. I'm happy to see a very young man called Konaya. This name is it's not, I don't know whether he's a Maasai or what. Lekonaya. Mr. Speaker, this young man, I think I'm older. I think we are age mate, but I'm older with a few months there. So don't count my age. But that 9 years with a lot of experience. I think he's the youngest among the CEC, if I'm not wrong. Yeah? So I'm very proud to see such young men ready to serve this county, ready to serve our people. Mr. Speaker, I'm the Chair of Finance and Committee. I'm also happy for the nominee of CEC Finance and Economic Planning. He's a seasonal banker with a wealth of experience. If you look at the portfolio he was handling in the previous employer, it's above 7.2 billion. So I'm looking forward to work closely with him to see that we give the best to our people. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I support, but I also pray, it's my prayer to His Excellency, the Governor of this county, who is also our boss, to consider also my community in the next appointment of Chief Officer. Thank you very much. I support.
Honorable Kuria, the liaison officer is following the debate live, and I'm sure he'll pass the message to His Excellency the Governor. Honorable Jacob Cheboywa, member for Kisanana, and a ranking member of this House.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want first of all to appreciate how you ran the morning session, that you gave us time to go through this document. I appreciate so much because, Mr. Speaker, I now have knowledge about whom I'm going to approve on behalf of my people. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want also to applaud and congratulate the appointment committee for the well done work. Mr. Speaker, I want also to congratulate these nominees, people we approved, because I've learned most of them have struggled across the ladders. Mr. Speaker, I will start with this, the Honorable Member, Maureen Garello Lamashek. Actually, this Honorable Member struggled from a very low education, from a low school, a remote secondary school. He got low grades, and eventually she has actually proved that education is not only to fail is not to fail is not the final thing. To fail in Form 4 is not a final state that you can be despaired. But she has proved to our young people, or those people in Form 4 level, that even a Form 4, even someone with a low grade can achieve, can grow through the ladders until he attains the BADs and so forth. She's actually a copy of our Honorable Aisha Chuma in the national government, because the way she has tried has proved to us that everybody can do better given chance. And we know the hardship that she might have faced during our secondary level, maybe peace issues, banditry, and other issues which affects low families, economically low families. Mr. Speaker, I also want to applaud the finance CEC, that is Wilson Jeserek. I saw that she has actually served in various capacities, especially in the Access Bank, and also she has went to further studies abroad. And I saw that he's also a member of several bodies, and that gives me a point to approve this list, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is also somebody called Honorable Dr. Solomon Sirma, who has served in Moi Referral Hospital. He has also served in Kapsabet District Hospital. He has also served in Nakuru Provincial Hospital, and he has also proved to serve as a CEO in Nakuru, a whiter Nakuru County, which is the whitest county with a high population, with a lot of issues, especially when you face the assembly like this one of ours. You know how Nakuru is, and he served it well, and I want to approve this list because of those people. Also, the one known as Sakari Kiprotich, this one person who comes from Endorais community, as he has been alluded by the DS. He comes from a very low, the arid area of Baringo, the Lepogoria region, and he has proved to us that even in that odd area, someone can come out and do a lot, and does a lot of work in commerce issues, and he has also proved to us that he's a very good businessman. Mr. Speaker, I approve also this list because someone like this man called Kiuta. Kiuta has also tried twice to fight for the parliamentary seat, and he has not lost off. He has not lost off. He is still fighting, and now he has succeeded to be the CEC for education. He is a doctor. He is a BAT who has served in Kabarnet University. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this list actually includes a hybrid, the younger men, younger professional, and the older professional. And I want to applaud also His Excellency the Governor, because he has done the best. Despite the fact that I know Mogoto was marginalized, the Bokor-Geben community was also marginalized. I hope in the next list, my people will be included. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Cheboyo, the liaison officer is following the proceedings live, and I'm sure he'll forward the same message to His Excellency the Governor. Honorable Engineer Sitoi, member for Partabo Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this very important motion. From the onset, Mr. Speaker, I would want to say that I support this motion, and I support because of some few reasons. First, Mr. Speaker, I like the fact that we are appointing somebody from areas where they have challenges in accessing water to be the CEC for water. Mr. Speaker, I come from a place where my mother still carries a 20-liter jerrycan for a distance of about 5 kilometers to fetch water. And Mr. Speaker, when I see the nominee for water, and considering that this is fairly a young person, because I was also looking at the age, I think there is some secret in the 60s. Mr. Speaker, I think we've got it right. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the key departments that are supposed to solve our problems as a county. The first one is health. Mr. Speaker, when I see the person that we are proposing to be the CEC health, it is only my prayer that we will also get a very good person to be the chief officer for health, so that we are able to sort out the issues that are affecting our people. Mr. Speaker, if you stand somewhere around Nainamoi or somewhere around Kuriama, in every day, the ambulance 030 must pass, taking somebody to either referral or to Nakuru. Mr. Speaker, it is something that we need to sort once and for all. And I'm happy that we are getting somebody who has knowledge, somebody who has experience to run and to manage the health department. Mr. Speaker, the other very important department is education, the basic education, Mr. Speaker. When you look at our sister who came, struggled through their education, Mr. Speaker, it is because some of the areas in Baringo are really marginalized to the extent that our children, if Honorable Makal and Honorable Localis and myself and Tweet can tell you the distance that young children are going to access ECD centers, Mr. Speaker, you will be surprised. And I'm happy that we are getting Dr. Kiuta, an educationist, somebody who has worked in an academic institution. And my belief, Mr. Speaker, is that we are getting it right. It is somebody who has experience in terms of even his age, Mr. Speaker. He qualifies to be a grandfather or a great-grandfather to those children who are going to school. I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, grandparents have more feelings for their children than their parents. Mr. Speaker, the other very important department that I am proud of, and I have a lot of interest in it, is agriculture, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when the DS was contributing, he mentioned that there was some protest in my ward, people protesting that RISPA does not come from Bartabwa. I want to confirm, Mr. Speaker, that RISPA comes from Bartabwa, and he is actually my village man. And I have known RISPA to be a person who is passionate in issues agriculture, in issues livestock, and Mr. Speaker, having her in that ministry will give us a great mileage in terms of our agriculture development. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to mention the others. Some of them are good friends to me. Some of them we've gone to school with them. We've learned through our working life. Engineer Lekanayo is my good friend. I have worked with him, and I know him. He is a person who is result-oriented. And Mr. Speaker, I am looking forward when I see that the committee says that he will source for money from elsewhere, from other national government. Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that is the true picture of Lekanayo. Mr. Speaker, I beg to support this motion. And Mr. Speaker, reading the mood of this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to request you that you can put the question.
Honorable Keter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Once again, I want to thank you for allowing us to retire and go through the report. And I thank every member who has taken his or her time to read through this document. That's why we are able to give very good review and comments on this report. Mr. Speaker, I want to give my comments on generality of the entire process that has led to us getting where we are right now in regards to the nomination of the CECs. Mr. Speaker, as a lawyer, I want to confirm that the legal process was followed, which is a very good thing. I've looked at everything and every attachment that is on this report, and I want to confirm that the law was followed. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Honorable our governor for these appointment that the appointments of the CCs that is before us today. Mr. Speaker, I've looked at it as a woman of this country, and I'm looking at it and I'm seeing the appointment of great women here, being Miss Rispa Chepkonga, a nominee to Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, Penaina Bartuin, Devolution, Public Service and Administration, Maureen Carello, Youth, Gender and E-Government and ICT. I want to thank Mr. Benjamin Cheboy for appointing these great women of this county of Baringo. And Mr. Speaker, in the appointment, you can see that the rule of one, that gender rule was actually achieved, which is a great thing. Mr. Speaker, I want to state what my icon, Michelle Obama, stated, that there is no limit on what women can do. And I believe that these three nominees will do a great job. I'm really happy, and I want to congratulate these three great women of Baringo. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, I want to, I've gone through the report, and I want to say each and every nominee here is well trained. They have good qualifications, and good career background, and all of them they've been appointed to the ministries that they have requisite expertise, and I believe that they are going to do great work in those ministries. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to particularly congratulate one person, the nominee of finance, Mr. Cheserek. This is a great man. I watched through the entire interview, and what really caught my eye is the fact that he's leaving a very lucrative job to now a job that is getting lesser salary. And what he said, that what motivated him to now take up this job is the fact that he has the zeal and the urge and the passion to serve Baringo County. And I hope he's going to perform well. And I believe he has a good track record. I mean, he has been a manager of a very big bank, Access Bank, and I'm sure he's going to perform well in Baringo County. And lastly, I will not forget to congratulate Reverend Kiuta. This is my former lecturer at Kabarnet University. I'm really proud of him, and I wish him well. And I wish each and every other nominees well. It's not like, I don't know them in person, but those two, I know them, and I wish them well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I support this motion.
Honorable Kedera, I was worried that you didn't congratulate the governor for nominating men. You only congratulated the governor for nominating women. Honorable Simon Kiplagat.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to take this opportunity to share or come and support this motion. And I want to appreciate you for giving us time to go through this report. At least I've read in detail. I've gotten how these people, and I've seen from the word call, from the first nominee to the last. I want to appreciate the appointment committee. You did a great work. You analyzed them well, and I've seen these people are qualified to do this job. And I want to congratulate His Excellency the Governor for giving us professionals, people who have knowledge about the department they're going to lead. Again, Mr. Speaker, I know 3 or 4 people here, but my interest was the CEC for health. Dr. Sirma, during the interview, I saw somebody who is ready to do the job. He's speaking from the experience. He has the knowledge, and I know from his talk, if he means well, he boosts the talk to action. The Baringo County health system will improve for once and for all. Secondly, my great friend Wilson Jesrek, I have known him for some years. He's a nice guy, and I appreciate Governor for seeing him, because this is somebody of my profession. He's somebody who has done finance, and I know he'll deliver in treasury. Thirdly, I want to appreciate my governor for remembering to remember my good friend Simon Kiuta. He's my namesake and he's my neighbor somewhere. This guy Kiuta is first of all, I think he will bring gospel to the cabinet. He will pray for this county, and I know he'll be somebody who will be doing a great work to us. And he's a nice fellow. He's a nice fellow. And the department he has gone. He's somebody who loves kids. I've seen him. He's a parent representative where my children are studying, and he's really interested with kids. And I think he's in the right place. So, generally speaker, these CECs, I know they'll deliver to us if they have that willingness to help Baringo County. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to request the governor to instruct these CECs to come and live in the county, not to waste the resources to go into Nakuru or Nairobi. We don't want to see county cars being transported in the evening, and in the morning coming back to Baringo. And we have all residential places here. These CECs can live here. Over the weekend, they can go to their homes. Because the most important thing is to deliver, not to waste the resources. So I want to request His Excellency the Governor to put a policy where the county government vehicles, if they are going, they go for official duties, not transporting people to their homes, so that we can have good management of resources, and these CECs will be available if they are needed to be there. Thank you, sir. Speaker, sir, I beg to support. Thank you.
Honorable Simon Kiplagat, you fell short of declaring a conflict of interest. Honorable Robert Cheriot. Honorable Kimosop, what's the issue?
Mr. Speaker, I was hoping to get your eye on the dress code of Robert. The rule of this house is you can't be on a shirt only. There has to be a coat. And Mr. Speaker, in our induction, you know the Speaker's rules on the dress code. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Robert Cheriot, kindly proceed and do the necessary so that you can. I'll reserve your time. I'll reserve your time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, but it was very hot. And I ate brown ugali and
Honorable Robert Cheriot, these are rules of this house.
I will do that.
Unfortunately, we cannot bend them for you now.
I will do that.
Kindly, we'll reserve your time.
Thank you.
Yes. Proceed, we'll give you time.
I proceed. This way.
Proceed and get a coat. Get a jacket. Honorable
Kindly
Cherumbor.
allow me, Honorable Speaker, to speak and I go out.
Honorable Cherumbor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for seeing me, because I've been raising my hand for a long time, and it's like I was wondering maybe I'm not being seen. Let me take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, sir, to support this motion and to congratulate the committee of appointment for giving us elaborate report about each and every member of the CEC committee. And also to thank the governor for balancing all the CC members. Though he never considered my word, but I believe that all the people that have been given the opportunity to serve will serve Baringo equally. Mine is also to congratulate some of them whom I know. I happen to live in, my family are in Nakuru, and I heard about Dr. Sirma. Dr. Sirma, Nakuru is where it is now because of him. He's a very good man, and I believe he will transform Baringo, especially in the terms of the health management and to make sure that all the facilities works and staff improve their morale. So I'm sure he will deliver. Another person that I really want and that I want to appreciate is the CEC education. As the chairman education, I look forward to working with him. I don't know how the governor chose him, because he comes from the marginalized community and from the area where insecurity is so rampant. So I'm sure we are going to work with him to make sure that this insecurity ceases through education, because he will make sure that all the children who are there will be taken to school. We have to come and sit down and ensure how can we now make the children go to school, maybe boarding schools and the ACDs. We open all the ACDs with him. So I'm sure it is somebody whom we can deliver. I happened to meet with him last week when we were swearing in the deputy governor, and I saw he has a passion for education. So we are going to deliver. Another person that I just appreciate through his CV that I have seen there is the roads minister, Mr. Lekonaya. I don't know how he retired when he started 6 years, and yet the retirement age here is 60. I saw he said he retired when and he started 6 years. So I think this is a fellow who has a lot of experience through the countries that he has worked in. He has learned that it is the most important thing is service to humanity, not serving yourself. It is service to humanity, which is service to God. So, Mr. Speaker, I stand here to support this motion, and let us, I urge my fellow members, let us support it and keep the county running, so that we don't stay like, we shall finish the year before seeing these people in office. Thank you, I support.
Honorable Robert Cheriot, I reserved your time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the appointment committees for the good job they have done. And allow me, Honorable Speaker, to qualify the people of Baringo. I also wish to qualify this assembly and to qualify the assembly for the consistency they are putting in place to appoint qualified people all through. Right from the election of the people of Baringo for electing qualified MCS like these ones. again electing a governor and the MCS electing you, Honorable Speaker. Based on the ruling you did in the morning, that allowed us to debate more this topic in this afternoon. Honorable Speaker, we know that how do we recognize the best person to lead? It is by looking at the expertise. That, Honorable Speaker, we cannot be able to ask a gardener to build a ship, as we cannot be able to ask a farmer to run the economy. The list given here are people who are expertise in the field they have been allocated to serve. And I would really want to thank the governor for the list that he gave us, and the appointment committee for the commitment they put in identifying the right credentials, the oversight role, and checking if they have errors or oversight that the governor might have not been able to notice from these people. And indeed, as the Deputy Speaker told us, that they were able to do fact-finding, including academic papers, past court cases, and they found that these people have no problem. I would want also to mention on the integrity of the governor, because during campaigns, Honorable Speaker, in the words of the late Chief Kut, I served the governor with the highest degree of military precision in the campaign. And I can attest that we had about 10 or more people visiting the governor, wishing to commit their resources to the campaign so that they can be appointed in the CEC position. And I can tell this Honorable House that among this list, those people did not see the appointment as CECs. That is the integrity that the governor did. That we don't appoint people based on their contribution towards the cause, but based on their qualification. And in what, going forward, Honorable Speaker, what Reverend Kuto said last week during our prayer, he said, these are children of hustlers. If you ask the children of hustlers to contribute for them to be employed, where will the hustlers get this money? So let's pursue and follow the direction that the governor assured, that we will be checking also as we move forward to appoint other people to serve in junior position, that nobody is extorted to be employed in our county, Baringo. That we check on the qualification. And I would want to talk about Maureen Lemashap. She was our overall coordinator in Tiati. This is a very young lady. She could literally cry when Kamket was actively campaigning for Lessonet and this Kanu team. That when she saw we were about to be defeated in Tiati, she could literally cry herself. This person who doesn't like defeat. When we look at someone like Reverend Kiuta, he's a very serious person to be able to support us in the education. But again, Honorable Speaker, I want to talk.
What's the point of information, Honorable Jacob Chaboyo?
Mr. Speaker, I want Honorable Robert to clear the interest, because whether he is contradicting himself, because in the previous, when he was just putting his input, he says that the governor did not put any interest to those people who supported him. And later, when when he is talking about Maureen, he has now claimed that Maureen was very active with them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Robert Chiriot.
You know, Honorable Speaker, everything has a relationship and nothing happened in a vacuum. We talked about the question of money, not commitment to the cause. Because the participation towards a cause means these people were involved in reasoning out with the people of Baringo on what needs to be achieved. So that's the purpose. I was mentioning that, but not the question of money. But finally, Honorable Speaker, on Wilson Chesrek and Ajite Ruto, and our honorable member here, Sharon Keter, last week complained that men from Baringo North are very hardworking, and she wants to get married. Men from Baringo North, men from Baringo North are very hardworking, and he said men from Baringo Central are very handsome. Now she's divided towards getting married to the handsome men of Baringo Central Wait a bit. I don't know the information. Or Baringo Road. But I want to assure Honorable Sharon Geter, who talked about the man from Trimionin, Cheserek, that he's very hardworking and he's handsome. And even you, Honorable Speaker, you come from Baringo Road, that you are handsome. Ajite Ruto is handsome and he's hardworking. So she's free to choose from the two communities. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support the motion.
Honorable members, thank you, Honorable Robert, for the light moment. But we need to remind members that all men are handsome. I can see we still have 3 more members willing to contribute. I'll start with Honorable Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion. And thank you also, Mr. Speaker, for clearing the air. Because some of us were almost complaining that Honorable Robert is like saying men from Baringo North are handsome and that those from Baringo Central are not that handsome, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to put it clearly that indeed, men from Baringo Central are tall, dark, and handsome, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, that Honorable Robert should know that all these ladies walking around prefer tall, dark, and handsome men, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to belabor members, Mr. Speaker, because I can see the mood and I just want to touch on some very few things, Mr. Speaker. And from the onset, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the team, the appointment committee, Mr. Speaker. They've done us proud, Mr. Speaker. You gave us the time to go and interact with the voluminous document, Mr. Speaker, that they prepared. And Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that these people did a good thing. They performed and we are proud of them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to talk about 2 people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm the Chair, Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. And Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that in the homework and the research that the HE, the governor, did and gave us Rispa Chepkonga as the CEC, CCM Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, and I want to confirm that it was well thought and confirm also that Rispa is the person that agriculture would really wish to be headed by. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that from the reports, Madam Rispa schooled in Kapropita, Mr. Speaker, and I'm not supporting her because she's schooled in Kapropita and I'm the MCA Kapropita. Mr. Speaker, Madam Rispa, Mr. Speaker, has vast knowledge in marketing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Baringo County has a lot of valuable commodities, Mr. Speaker, that needs marketing, Mr. Speaker. We have honey, Mr. Speaker, that we just need to do some value addition and marketing, and we are good, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Baringo County has been seen as a county that is affected so much by drought and food insecurity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having somebody like Rispa in that position, Mr. Speaker, and the knowledge and the work experience she has had in Kenya Seed and these are the bodies, Mr. Speaker, that deals with the seedlings, and these are the things, Mr. Speaker. I think we have the right person, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to this House that we've been having challenges in quality of seeds supplied to our farmers. We've had challenge in the quality of fingerlings that are supplied to our farmers, Mr. Speaker. And on record, to be recorded, Mr. Speaker, I am a member of a youth group called Arise Youth Group, Mr. Speaker. Arise Youth Group, Mr. Speaker, deals with fish farming and ornamental fish, Mr. Speaker, for that case. Mr. Speaker, we were a beneficiary of the previous regime, Mr. Speaker, and we were supplied supplied fingerlings, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that our fingerlings are in our fish ponds now close to a year, and they've never matured. They've never shown any sign of growing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is not a laughing matter, Mr. Speaker. These people are eating into our feeds, and maybe, Mr. Speaker, we will see. Maybe we will be tempted to take the county government to court because they've drained us so much. Mr. Speaker, I wish also to talk about the candidate that I had spoken about previously. Architect Ruto, Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to this House, Mr. Speaker, that the governor in his first list, which is submitted, started with the Architect Ruto as the first candidate. I am also looking at the ranking from the appointment committee, Mr. Speaker, and I want to confirm that he's a guy that has been ranked high in the findings from the committee, Mr. Speaker. This is a guy, Mr. Speaker, that has shown vast experience, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm even tempted to even ask the governor to consider this guy to roads department, Mr. Speaker. I can see he was in Bungoma as a county public officer, Mr. Speaker.
Kindly wind up.
I'm winding up, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to tell this House something, Mr. Speaker, that I learned over the weekend. Mr. Speaker, I went to church with Architect Ruto, a church called Kapso. Mr. Speaker, and the pastor and the bishop congratulated this guy for whatever he's doing to the community, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that Architect Ruto, where he gets his blessings is from the church, Mr. Speaker. He gave his voluntary services to the church, Mr. Speaker. He did the architectural work for free for Kapso in Kapso AIC, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these members here, Mr. Speaker, I know of members, Mr. Speaker, who are well off, but they've never contributed, Mr. Speaker, to the society. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge them, Mr. Speaker, and I want to urge the DS, Mr. Speaker, and other members, Mr. Speaker, to be contributing to the society, Mr. Speaker, and that is where they are going to get their blessings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to support.
Let's have Honorable Gigen, aka Mtetesi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say thank you for the opportunity you gave us that we had time to discuss, and I can now confirm that I've gone through the report, and I can now say I support, especially, Mr. Speaker, one Dr. Sirma, Mr. Speaker. Dr. Sirma, I've worked with him when he was at Nakuru PTH, and I can say he's a man who can deliver, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I believe he's the man who will change our health system in Baringo, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, here in Baringo, him being a consultant gynecologist, I believe he will be able to talk to his fellow consultants here in Baringo. Because here in Baringo, Mr. Speaker, we have consultants who are paid and they don't stay in Baringo, Mr. Speaker. I believe this is a time this will come to an end, and we'll have services in Baringo. We'll have consultants serving us here. Not those ones who come here for 30 minutes and they go for the whole month. Some of them, for 5 years, they have not stepped here. and they get pay. I believe this house will have to go hard on those ones, and I believe this house will take its role. If it means surcharging, we will. Mr. Speaker, our health here in Baringo, Mr. Speaker, we are paying for a CT scan which is not here. We are paying for an MRI which is not here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we believe this time round with a serious CEC, we believe this will come to an end, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we believe these referral issues that we take our patients to Elgeyo Marakwet, Mr. Speaker, will stop. We cannot be referring our patients to a small county like Elgeyo Marakwet, Mr. Speaker, and we are county number 1. We believe this county deserves to be serving patients from Elgeyo Marakwet, not the other way around. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I believe we'll work towards making Baringo great. Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, we were with him in Tenges Health Center. And I can say he's a man ready to work. He's a man who wants to change Baringo, Mr. Speaker. I support him for that, and I say congratulations to him. Mr. Speaker, also Gishu, Mr. Speaker, the man I said before that I've not seen his KCB certificate, but I can see that he's done it. Mr. Speaker, I don't like, because he has said that he will stop the rollovers, Mr. Speaker. I believe if he will tackle this issue head-on, I believe this country will be great. Mr. Speaker, again, Reverend Kiuta, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Reverend Kiuta is a pastor, Mr. Speaker, and he's been given education. And county, Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with ECD, and our ECD teachers are suffering. I believe that being a pastor, you will be able to be compassionate and will help our ECD teachers, Mr. Speaker. Our ECD, most of them have no pay. Most of them retired, and those who replace have not been paid. We believe this time round we will work, and this thing will be solved, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to say I support. And on the issue of Baringo Syndrome, Mr. Speaker, we have one candidate, Ruto, and I believe, as some members said, in the next CEOs, we believe we'll get more share as Baringo Central. I beg to support. Thank you.
Honorable Ernest Kibet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think I've heard a member saying, put a question. I think members are ready to support to pass this motion. Mr. Speaker, I first and foremost want to really congratulate you for your Solomonic decisions in this house. You've known where to touch when it's necessary, so thank you so much. I also want to appreciate the governor, though we still feel, because my colleague here who comes from Central, Mr. Speaker, can you imagine the only pick, he picked one person, and that is the top scorer here, who was 82%. Mr. Speaker, that shows Baringo Central can be so amazing given more opportunities. And I hope the speaker, the governor is watching somewhere so that he really considers us for a bigger share in the CEOs. Mr. Speaker, having looked at all these members, I happen to have the opportunity to interview these people up close. Mr. Speaker, these are sons and daughters of Baringo who are so passionate about service. One lady who really amazed me, Maureen. Maureen is running a rescue center, Mr. Speaker, and she was so passionate of what she was doing. And at the end of the tail end of the interview, Mr. Speaker, the lady said, my case is a bottom-up situation, meaning she started from down and she's going up. That even being the CEC is not the finish line. I was so amazed. Mr. Speaker, one person also who really captured the moment, and I tried to inquire more why he talked about retiring at the age of that something, Mr. Speaker. But when I went and thought about it, Mr. Speaker, this is a person who has worked in the private sector. Meaning, Mr. Speaker, it is possible to achieve a lot in the private sector as a disciplined person, and you don't need to stay till the age of 60, what Cherumbur was saying, that why are you retiring at
39 or 30 and the normal age is 60. No, the normal age is not 60. It is just about, have you achieved your goals in life? So I think I want to encourage the youth of this country that you don't have to stay until you retire at 70 or 60 to make in life. Lekonaya has shown that as a young person, you can work hard and achieve most of the things at your youthful stage. And I appreciate his knowledge about what he is coming to do. He even talked about we will not rely only on these monies that we are being given from the equitable share, that he was going to look for ways and means of partnering with many other people so that Baringo can get more resources. Mr. Speaker, the CEC finance, Wilson Chesrek, is a very amazing person, very, very experienced. And Mr. Speaker, I think at times when we are in social platforms, like some of us are members of BLM, we never realize the potential of these people. When they make comments, we should be listening to them, and if given chance, I applaud the governor for giving them an opportunity to come now and express what they have been writing, because he really showed that he can be a good manager. In fact, he talked about, he has a concept already about the Asla Fund, that we do not need really to wait for the national fund, that we can even start now operationalizing the Asla Fund, because we've had so many funds, so many loans around, he could work on something. So I think he really fits the bill. Mr. Speaker, the Reverend was very charismatic. He looked somebody who really, given the opportunity, will serve this nation. Mr. Speaker, there was one RISPA who really made a very, very touching comment, because she gave us how long ago the Tugans would go to the Elgeyo Islands to look for food. And in the process, there were so many things. The girls were being married off on the other side as they fend for food and sending to this other side. But the lady said, now we will change that trajectory. We will now be doing irrigation in Kerio Valley and taking the same food across Elgeyo to the airport to export. And I think that, to me, was a very serious comment from Chepkonga, and she showed a lot of experience. She has been a manager in seeding companies. So, Mr. Speaker, I really want to say that we have a blend. The architect, Ruben, is somebody who is very knowledgeable. And as my colleague here was talking about how he pro bono work, doing architecture work for the church. And Mr. Speaker, we could see also that these are people whom we need. What I'm just urging the people of Baringo and everybody is that we need to support these people so that they deliver. Dr. Sirma is a good professional person, and he has shown, and we've heard from Nakuru that he has really delivered. So, Mr. Speaker, mine will just be that reading the mood, Mr. Speaker, and I've seen the members, Mr. Speaker, they are in support. Mr. Speaker, the only thing that I think we will have to explain is members who are of the opinion that we don't like this last minute activity. But just to inform, maybe this situation, and we want to ask the governor that we should never find ourselves in the same situation, because in between appointing the DG and the CECs, I think that is where we got some mix-up, so that we needed these members to have enough time to read these documents, so that, Mr. Speaker, it is always good when members are given enough time. So I would ask, going forward, Mr. Speaker, let these members get enough time, because, Mr. Speaker, members are not rubber stamps. Members are here to debate and make informed decisions. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion.
I'll give Honorable Aengwa a minute, then the mover to reply thereafter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for actually catching my eye. I will spend only 1 minute, Mr. Speaker, sir, because as I was trying to catch your eye, most members were signaling to me that really they have had enough debate over the same. One thing I don't want to maybe, Mr. Speaker, sir, forget to say is that during the first devolution, that time, Governor Jeboy was actually the present governor was the governor at that time. And all the time, when we were actually in this county, most people were saying the people who laid down Governor Jeboy at that time so that he was voted out was the CECs. And I believe this time, the crop of leaders he has brought, actually, he must have revised well to see to it that delivery of services is very important. And Mr. Speaker, sir, without maybe saying a lot, because these members have exhausted, I believe he has actually got the best leaders, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, the case of rollovers and the rest, I think he is going to do it well. Mr. Speaker, sir, I didn't want to maybe this debate to end without saying, because when we were in the restaurant, MCAs, Tenges, actually mentioned something to do with the primary certificate for Jesrek, and Jesrek, Mr. Speaker, sir, happens to come from my ward. So there, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think he has corrected it. And so therefore, I didn't want him to look like as if there is a question mark somewhere. Speaker, sir, thank you. And I want also to applaud the committee for doing a wonderful job. Without taking much, I beg that I support the motion, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
I now invite the mover to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to humbly thank your office and your leadership for allowing these members, because since the morning session, there was some small concern that members had not gone through the report. I want to appreciate your decision and your wisdom on that. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir. At the same time, I want to appreciate your enormous contribution and lead all through, beginning from the start of this process until today that we are almost somewhere. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, allow me to thank the Office of the Clerk and the members of the staff and the technical team for guiding us throughout the process. Honorable members, Mr. Speaker, allow me again to thank most sincerely the honorable members for considering to approve this motion. Having looked at all the circumstances that we've been, and for the last time, for example, the health sector today is a committee that is ailing. And now that we have a very able CEC, Dr. Sirma, which I want to say I'm proud of him as my colleague, and a very, very intelligent servant. We want to say we are moving forward, Mr. Speaker. And as today, as we were having our meeting, the health committee meeting, and some of the things that actually disturbed us were the issues to do with how do we move forward with the issues that affect the people of Baringo. And I'm happy today, honorable members, in one unity, they have allowed us and allowed all these nominees to be now allowed to serve the people of Baringo County. I want to thank you most sincerely again, honorable members. You've talked a lot, and at some point, you associated yourselves with the CECs that come from your place. I want to go to the record that although the largest ward in Baringo, that is Barwesa ward, has not gotten any waziri, and we don't regret, because we trust His Excellency, our Governor, will look at it and consider in the upcoming nominations for the positions of chief officers. And I would wish that he listens to us, the honorable people of Barwesa that have sent me here to represent them. I hope he will appoint 2 chief officers, very able. That is my prayer. And to all of us that may not have gotten Waziri as CEC in the awards, we will pray together with you that His Honorable Governor will consider appointing someone in your places. Honorable Speaker, I was also impressed that so many good things were mentioned and talked about our Apple CCs. I want to also take this opportunity to congratulate in advance, hoping all shall go well and the governor will move very fast to swear them in as soon as possible so that work may start. I want to congratulate the 2 nominees from North Baringo, my sub-county, and allow me to say this because I've heard everybody supporting and saying something good about their people. So I want to sincerely congratulate Honorable Rispa Chepkonga and Honorable Waziri CEC Finance. It's a HEPO and they are HEPO people and they will take us far. Overall, I want to take the opportunity to congratulate all the 10 members that have been appointed. That is Architect Ruben Ruto, Rispa Chepkonga, Penina Bartuin, Maureen Carello Lameshep, Reverend Simon Kuta, Wilson Cheserek Ruto, Dr. Solomon Sirma, Sagaria Kiprotich, Engineer Lekonaya Kibwalel, and Richard Nahman Tamare. On my behalf and on behalf of the technical committee, the speaker, the majority leader and the leadership, we want to congratulate them and wish them well. I am surprised and I'm very happy, Honorable Speaker. For the first time, His Excellency the Governor is appointing a spiritual leader and brings Baringo into some normalcy. We were lost at some point. And for like almost some few years, Baringo was going the wrong direction. Almost all the things that we are supposed to have been going right. But this time, now that we have a serious bishop, I think Baringo will be prayed for, and I am sure by the end of 5 years' term, that these honorable members will be serving. Those of us and those of you that may not have been saved by the blood of Jesus Christ will have an opportunity to see heaven, if they will be heaven. I hope so. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I now congratulate everyone and wish everyone the very best of luck, and thank you for supporting the motion. I support.
Honorable members, the motion having been proposed, seconded, debated upon, and the move having replied, I now want to put a question that whereas the Committee on Appointment is established pursuant to Standing Order 190, Paragraph 4 of the Standing Orders, which provides for vetting and consideration by the County Assembly appointments under Article 179 at Section 2, Paragraph B of the Constitution. In this case, the County Executive Committee members, aware that Section 35 and 36 of the County Governments Act, as read together with Article 179 2B of the Constitution, provides that the power of the governor to nominate and appoint County Executive Committee members with approval of the County Assembly. Further appreciative that Section 35, Subsection 1 of the County Governments Act provides that the governor shall, when nominating members of the County Executive Committee, consider the following. A, the composition of the County Executive Committee reflects the community and cultural diversity of the county. And B, take into account the principles of affirmative action as provided for in the Constitution. C, consideration of 2/3 gender rule. D, representation of the minorities or marginalized group. Acknowledging that Section 36, Subsection 1 of the County Government Act provides for roles of county Executive Committee members, in addition to the functions provided under Article 183 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, aware that the Governor, His Excellency Benjamin Cheboy, via the letter dated 18th October 2022, forwarded to the Clerk of Baringo County Assembly the list of 10 proposed County Executive Committee members for vetting and subsequent consideration for approval by the County Assembly pursuant to provisions of Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act of 2017. Subsequently, upon commitment to the Committee on Appointments, the nominees appeared before the committee on 8th, 9th, and 11th of November 2022 at the Kenya School of Government and were vetted on their suitability for appointment of the County Executive Committee members to the various departments in Baringo County. Now, therefore, in view of the foregoing, this motion urges the County Assembly of Baringo to consider and adopt the report of the Committee on Appointments, approving the following nominees to the various departments upon a successful vetting process. 1. Architect Ruben Ruto, nominated for the Department of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and from Baringo Central Sub-County. 2. Rispa K. Chepkonga, nominee for Department of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, from Baringo North Sub-County. Penina Partuhin, nominee for Department of Devolution, Public Service and Administration, and from Baringo South Sub-County. 4. Maureen Carello Lemashep, nominee for Department of Youth, Gender, E-Government and ICT, and from Tiaty Sub-County. 5th, Reverend Simon Kiuta, a PhD holder, a nominee for the Department of Education, Sports, Culture and Social Services, a nominee from Tiaty Sub-County. 6. Wilson Jeserek Ruto, nominee for Department of Finance and Economic Planning, and he comes from Baringo North Sub-County. 7. Dr. Solomon Sirma, nominee for Department of Health Services, and from Ravine Sub-County. 8. Sakari Kiprotich, also known as Kupetpet, nominee for Department of Industry, Commerce, Tourism, Enterprise and Cooperative Development, and from Mokotio Sub-County. 9. Engineer Lekonaya Kibwalel, nominee for Public Works, nominee for Public Works, Transport and Infrastructure, and from Ravine Sub-County. 10. Richard Naman Tamar, nominee for Department of Water, Irrigation, Environment and Natural Resources, and from Baringo South Sub-County. Honorable members, we have debated the motion and we have put the question. Let's now get to know, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Other members? This House stands adjourned until Tuesday next week for normal sitting.
Aya.
Ah,